What is your financial freedom number? How much monthly income would you need to receive from your investments so that you no longer have to work for money? If you're a high-earning top specialist manager or business owner, you should consider, or at least figure out, what your monthly expenses are, what your family spends. Let's take an example. Your family spends 4,000 euros per month. Now, to understand what your financial freedom number is, you should multiply that 4,000 euros per month by 12 months, and you'll see that your expenses are about 48,000 euros per year. Now, if you are able to invest and get a 10% return, then in order to receive 48,000 euros per year, the value of your assets must be at least 480,000. Now, it may happen that you actually already have this asset value, but perhaps it is tied up somewhere, whether it's tied up in real estate or in your so-called company that you have created. But this is the number at which you could theoretically be financially independent. So wherever you are today, you could at least calculate, based on your expenses, what your financial freedom number is. And if we simplify this by showing the 12-month and 10% returns, then you can simply take your monthly expenses and multiply them by 120. So if you have 4,000 euros per month, then you need 480,000. If your monthly expenses are 5,000 euros, then you need about 600,000. And now the question is, what do you need to do to bring the value of your assets to that same 500 or 600,000 euros? And if you make the right moves there, then you are actually financially independent. I recently talked to an entrepreneur who said that the value of his assets or his company is over 1 million euros, but he works there every day for 8 to 12 hours. It's as if he were still at the very beginning of his business and has to be constantly present there. And this is one of those things that many entrepreneurs have never thought about. So why did I start my company? And because we focus so strongly on growing our business, we might lose sight of how the company could actually support us financially on a personal level. Number one is that many entrepreneurs never pay themselves any profit because it always seems necessary to reinvest everything into growing the business. And the second thing is that you don't actually consider that this investment could one day cover your monthly expenses. And what I mean by that financial freedom number is that you could take a moment to calculate if you were able to realize your assets, that is, if you could get that capital out, for example, by selling your company. If your company is worth, say, 1 million euros, and let's say that by the time you make that sale, you have learned how to invest and are able to achieve at least a 10% annual return on your investments, which is a completely realistic number that can be achieved. And now, if that same €1 million company yields a 10% annual cash flow, that basically means 100,000 euros per year. If you spread that out over the months, well, you get that this comes to about 8 to 10,000 euros per month as income. Now, if you live a life where your expenses are, for example, 4,000 or 5,000 euros per month, then just making this move alone means that in reality, you wouldn't have to do anything for money anymore. This doesn't mean that you have to give up your daily active work, but you gain complete freedom of choice and the right to decide whether you want to be involved in that company or not. True wealth is actually having control over your own time. When you make that one big investment in your life and achieve complete freedom, knowing that you no longer have to worry about your monthly expenses, then new ventures and new businesses are likely to emerge, ones that come from a better place, where you no longer have to stress, so to speak. You no longer have to worry about money, and that might give you a completely new drive. So if you are an entrepreneur today, and again, entrepreneurs make up about 3 to 5% of the entire society, so in any case, if you are already an entrepreneur today, congratulations to you. You are further ahead than probably 90% of other people. And now, if you are among those successful entrepreneurs who have managed to build a profitable business and sell it, then in fact, you are in a situation where you have completed your life's work and you can spend the rest of your life focusing on other activities, so to speak, and you no longer have to do it for the money. So this is definitely a point where you should consider how much your assets are worth today and whether you could perhaps allocate some of those assets to generate cash flow for yourself in such a way that your monthly expenses are covered and, in that sense, the stress is taken off.